Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go through our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into individual sectors and companies. You can see what I'm doing. I just released a midweek update today, so if you're a member, look for that. And we still have a discount coupon code, LEAP, LEAP, going on. Look in the description link for those details. So let's dive in here. I'll share my financial opinions on what I think is going on today. We're going to start here with the dollar. And again, not much has really changed here. We've broken to the upside for the dollar. And I do think that this will continue higher, probably with crude oil and with potentially yields going up too. So dollar is remaining strong against other very weak currencies. We've got the 2-year yield slightly lower today, but not enough for me to be convinced that we are going to go lower. If we are going to go lower, what I would be expecting to see are large down candlesticks like this forming over here if we are going to go lower. We just don't see that yet. So if we don't see it yet, my inclination is to think that we are going to continue higher in the short term with the momentum that we've generated. The 10-year yield is also higher today, and that still looks good to continue higher. And we're probably putting in some sort of flag pattern is what we're seeing. And then the 30-year yield also higher as well, and that does look like it broke out of this little pattern to the upside, bumped its head on a little bit of resistance there. That's the resistance that's just above us here, which is this guy projected upward. And we'll see if we can break through maybe this week. We'll see. TYX TNX ratio, slightly on inversion of this, but guys, we've been just moving sideways for a pretty long time. Again, when this uninverts, gold and silver generally rip it, and that is when the yield curve uninverts for the 30 and 10 here. TLT, which is bond prices, slightly lower today. Momentum is still to the downside, and we'll see if we can generate more selling pressure in bonds, the 20-year bond. And then the 2 and 10, we did get a little bit of yield curve uninversion. We call that a bear steepener when yields go up, and the short end of the curve went down a teeny bit, and the long end went up. A lot of people, when we see a collapse, so to speak, we see a yield curve that's dropping, but that very well could turn into a yield curve that drops with yields dropping and people running into bonds for safety. Think of it as a market slowdown, potential credit problem or event, liquidity problems, whatever it is. Gold down about $10 an ounce, and not a huge follow through here. But we did get this large selling pressure day. We do have very little follow through with it, and we'll see where this goes. I don't see a reversal candlestick or anything like that yet. So momentum still to the downside. Silver, same thing, momentum still to the downside, but that very well could reverse at any time. We just haven't seen it yet. This could do a retest. This is the breakout here. We could do a retest before heading higher. That is still possible. But that is not how I'm playing it. I'm just holding on, riding this bad boy. Platinum down 1%. We're at a very good location down here for potential additions to the portfolio. To me, we're squeezing up. That's what we're doing. We've got the 1, 2, 3 consolidation. And then you can also kind of put it like this, almost like we are consolidating here and buying some stuff there. So we're squeezing up, and we haven't broken through that downtrend line, that guy, yet. And then palladium down $19 an ounce. We're still above support. Everything's kind of holding together at the moment, and we're just kind of basing out recovering from that big selling pressure move here. There's your bull trap. Here's a big bull trap. You see the big wick at the top there. Yeah, that's a bull trap, and then you sell all the way off, and then it's got to probably base out for a little bit. XAU to gold ratio. So some people are buying gold and silver mining companies over, or they went down less than gold, but it was up in the ratio. Commodity CRB index slightly lower, just slightly, but still looks good to continue higher. The momentum's up there. We're not getting a ton of reversal candlesticks or anything like that. Still looks good to work its way on up if it chooses. CRB to S&P 500, slightly lower. But again, we've got good momentum. Not huge selling pressure yet. No reversal candlesticks. Still looks okay to work its way on up. We've got GDX slightly sideways, which is a bloody nose, basically. And I still think we could go higher here. Still looks okay. GDXJ doing the same thing, little bloody nose, and SILJ doing the same thing. We have bullish engulfings. Think of this as a flag pattern. And we'll see if we can punch through it here tomorrow even. We'll see. Crude oil down a little bit. I know that they released some information on, we did eat through a little bit of inventory, about 3 point something million, so not pretty good chunk. And I would expect crude oil over time, over the summer specifically, is going to work its way on up with crude oil doing inventory drawdowns. TTF gas up. We're right above support. That's where we're at with gas. And then American gas, we're down a lot. I think someone came out with some information about Freeport LNG or something. It doesn't really matter, guys. This is going to base out. It's going to take a little bit of time to base out. And we'll work our way on up because they're going to cut back too much. The LNG capacity is going to come on, and then we're going to be undersupplied for a period of time. So it's all going to, it swings back and forth, up and down. And right now we are in a slowdown due to weather, warm weather in the winter for 2 winters in a row. Looking at XOP, yeah, you know me, up 0.42% on the daily. We're above the neckline. There we are, above the neckline. We very well could do a return move back to do a retest. That is very much a possibility. Down in the $147 per share range. And then I think we're going to head on up. That's what I think is going to occur. OIH, also kind of like, is this a flag pattern where we could head down here again? It's very well possible. But depends on oil. And we'll see what oil does. Oil's been holding in there. It doesn't look too bad on a monthly. It still looks like we could go higher. But again, I like the valuations here. If I were to look at all these, you look at the ratios look pretty good for a lot of these energy service companies. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, you can still see we got this nasty big monthly candlestick that's really ugly looking. And this still looks like we could go lower in the short term. Oh yeah, definitely. We got a bearish engulfing. So really what this is we came on down, big selling pressure, squeezed on up, broke down, and then this is a retest, and now we got a bearish engulfing. So this does look like we could go lower in the short term for the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, unfortunately. URA, it's hanging in there at the moment, and we'll see what that does with URA going down. URNM down a little bit. It's hanging in there. We're above support, and we'll see if that support holds. And then URNJ right below or at support as your support level. But we're getting a little bit of selling pressure today. We've got TAN down a little bit. Doesn't like those increasing interest rates. I'm sure it doesn't. No company that doesn't make any money does. Copper still working its way on up. It's holding together quite well in that uptrend. Nothing broken yet. We've got COPX also slightly higher today. It's holding on. We do have a reversal candlestick there, and maybe this is all that it can muster. We'll see. That is not a legit pattern, guys, just let you know. But there is some downside pressure. I just don't see any follow through with any of these candlesticks really moving to the downside all that much. We haven't seen it yet. Lithium down a little bit. This one's also very sensitive to interest rates, and interest rates have been going up. REMX, another interest rate sensitive, and we could head a little bit lower here with interest rates going up. This is probably going to stay down. We've got the S&P 500. I'm not convinced that this is a sustained rally here, guys. I'm going to wait. We've got some big candlesticks, momentums to the downside, and usually you get these small upward candlesticks like this, and then it breaks back down. NASDAQ also some similar pattern here. Bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing. It's coming on down, and we'll see if that heads a little bit lower over the next few days. KRE holding in there against support, or resistance, I should say. Right up against resistance. It doesn't look bad. Emerging markets moving sideways. We had a stronger dollar today, didn't we? Slightly, yeah, slightly stronger dollar. Emerging markets just slightly higher. XHB down a little bit. I know the 10-year really weighs on this. We could still see some further downside in the home builders. Still possible. Momentums to the downside. Moo also, we could see some downside. This looks like a flag pattern that we could head a little bit lower in the short term. So we're kind of bouncing. We're bouncing here on support. Iron ore down a little bit. I think this looks good. I think we're going to head on higher for iron ore. It looks good. We kind of got a big bullish engulfing candlestick there. We're just up against a little resistance there. But everything doesn't look too bad here. We can put a more legit candlestick here. And we're trying to break through that support resistance right where we're at. We've got nickel down a little bit today, but we've had some pretty big moves in nickel past few days. I think we're going to go higher on the longer term. It looks good. Aluminum up a little bit. Hanging in there. We got a little bit more selling pressure. Momentum's to the downside in the short term. But longer term, momentum's upward. So we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Baltic Dry Index down 4.1%. Right on support. And we're holding on. Newcastle coal, we've broken the downtrend line here. I think this is going to go higher. We're doing a little return move here. But I do think we're going to head on up. And a lot of the coal companies look pretty good. BTC down 3.66%. Looks very similar to almost uranium at the moment. Kind of a move up. 1, 2, 3. Pump consolidation, rising wedge, broken to the downside, and this is your return move. So this doesn't look good. It looks like we could go lower here in Bitcoin. Ethereum's got a similar pattern. Does look like we could go lower. We've broken to the downside of that pattern. And then SMCI, we get strong selling pressure moves, like these big bearish engulfings. There's one there, one there. You sell off, and then you get a weak bounce, and then it wants to dive lower. So I still think this has downside pressure being applied. Same with NVIDIA. This does not look good. Bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing. We're going lower here in NVIDIA, guys. That's what I think. So lots of selling pressure in the overall NASDAQ / tech stocks, whatever you want to call it. And potentially the S&P. But that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like. LEAP coupon code gives you a discount. We've got a Saturday question and answer session coming up this weekend. It's 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Looking at the overall markets, though, NVIDIA, some of these leaders, they're looking pretty weak. They do look like they could go lower, and that could have an impact on the overall commodity complex, where we could get dragged down depending on what it looks like and the selling pressure that people get subjected to. If it's big selling pressure, more than likely it'll kind of drag everything lower. If it's more of a slow kind of grind lower, then you might not it might not drag us down. We might be all right. But that's what we've got for today, guys. We'll catch you later. This is Finding Value.